Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
So nice to be with you on this lovely Erev Shabbat. It is dry at the moment, which is nice. How many people had some rain today? Who asked people had rain today? How many people had any rain yesterday? Nope. People had rain the day before? People had rain the day before that?
Yeah, every day.
I'm a Floridian, and I do not remember it being like this. It wasn't like this. It wasn't. No, there used to be. No. It used to be.
Rain maybe, but.
Rain in the summer used to be at like 3:30 or whatever for like 45 minutes, and then that was it. And it was a little sprinkle, and then the afternoon was horrid and damp and humid. But now it's like it's monsooning, and the clouds come in, and it's dark and scary, and the heat is terrible. And I remember the days in Florida where I needed sweaters and jackets and scarves, and no, that's not true. Sorry, that is not. I don't remember that part at all. That was cold. It was cold one day down here. Some years ago, it was cold. I remember once using a jacket in Florida. I remember there was jackets in Florida. Those of you watching on our live stream, by the way, we think it's working. If you're somewhere else, by the way, and the weather is incredible and perfect and not like here, don't tell us. Please. I've been talking to people all week who are people in Maine and New Hampshire and Montana and all these great places all over, and they're like, oh, the weather is great. I just talked to someone who was in Maryland, and they said it was even decent. I was like, yeah, Maryland's kind of hot, though, but they were like, it's even better in Maryland. Oh, I spoke to someone in Utah. They were like, oh, yeah, the high is like 73. I was like, no, it's not fair. Don't tell me the high is 73. I know, it's terrible. Well, I do hope that you had despite the weather, I hope that you had a lovely week, and that we'll, of course, enter a lovely Shabbat together. Also, those in our live stream, hello, pleasure to have you with us wherever you are, even in the nice weather. We are happy that you are here with us, joining us for our Shabbat service. If you don't know us, that's Cantor Muchnick. I'm Rabbi Keller. And your prayer books, if you're here for the first time or the 100th time, are right under your seats. Those on our live stream. Virtual prayer books available to you, cbiboca.org. Top left corner, hit menu. Scroll down a little bit. Then it should say, hit menu, then services. Scroll down a little bit, and there'll be a picture of that guy. And right next to him will be a button that you can press to take you to our virtual prayer book, and you can pray along and chant along and sing along with us throughout the entirety of our Shabbat service. We're going to officially begin, obviously, with the lighting of Shabbat candles, which can be found on page 2 in your Siddur. We're going to invite Linda Riegelhaupt to light our Shabbat candles for us on this Erev Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu
To bring in Shabbat, now that our candles are lit, we are in the presence of Shabbat for the next 25 hours or so together. We can sweeten that time that we'll be together for Shabbat on page 5 with Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei piri agafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemahasei v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki vanu vacharta viltanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
Some of you might see us a bit nervous about to drink the wine, and you might have been thinking all this time, like, well, it's just wine. But those of us who was here, was it last week or the week before? Was it last Saturday for our Torah study? We all sat around together of a beautiful service and study, and we sat down to do Kiddush, and we all poured a beautiful little cup for us, and we all took a sip at the same time, and all went, ooh. So now you can believe us that it is actually true that 50-50 on the wine. For those who were non-believers, you were there, and it was not pretty. It was not. But this was okay.
It's okay.
This was okay. So now that our candles are lit, we have sipped the wine. We have sweetened our Shabbat. It was acceptable wine. We're going to continue with Kabbalat Shabbat. We're bringing in our bride of Shabbat to spend these hours with us with Psalm 96 on page 13 with Shirul Adonai. Chatzi Kaddish, which can be found on page 26.
Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabba, belma divrach yirute ve'yamlich malchute, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי המאיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעולמה ואמרו
Amen. Continue with our call to worship with Baruch Hu on page 28, and together we stand. Let's thank God for making evening together in the English on the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the currents of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. We continue on 33. At the bottom in the English, also let's alternate paragraphs. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. 34-35.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We continue Ve'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך מהיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Let's continue on page 39. At the bottom, in the English, let's read that together. We'll alternate the paragraphs there as well. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea, Micha Mocha, on page 40. Page 40. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Praise you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts. We may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים השכיבנו on page 42. Continue now with the Amidah, which can be found on page 46, and together we stand.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, V'Zocher Chaste Avot V'Imahot, Umevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Le'Oshia, Morin Hatal, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדום מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue silently now, beginning here on page 52 through page 62, with our own prayers, thoughts, silent meditations. Whenever you are finished, please be seated.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha. Tasim
So you may know I'm a big fan of all of the teachings of the late and wonderful Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, who was the chief rabbi of England for many years, and not only for years of his brilliance of teaching and connecting to many Torah portions, but even when he was his health was failing in his time, even though he was very ill, he wrote and planned for many years to follow up writing commentary that we could use for future in his brilliance and his forethought. So I'm going to share with you his angle a little bit on this week and on Torah. And he starts by talking about this interaction he has, and he was often in Buckingham Palace because he was that significant. And he happened to be there amidst a meeting, and the board of deputies of British Jews were there also, and they were interacting with some of the royals, and as they left the royals, they said to them, we wish you health and happiness until the age of 120. And they looked very puzzled because they were like, what, thank you. That sounds wonderful, but why 120? And so he goes on to talk about the significance of 120. It's sort of in the Jewish mantra, sort of ingrained into us. We know what we always say 120. By the way, in Israel, sometimes they say you shall live till 120. Sometimes the Israelis say you shall live till 100 like you're 20. So that's a little Israeli twist. Leave it to the Israelis to come up with a little twist on Jewish text and Jewish concept and switch it on that too. Both are fabulous. I would take. But Rabbi Jonathan Sacks talks about this idea of 120, and he reflects on it, and he talks about it, and he says, because it makes sense, because we're talking about Moses, clearly in the Torah for many, many weeks we have been, and we're going to continue to talk about Moses for many, many weeks, that Moses is the model of how to age well, he says. With the growth of human longevity, this has become a significant and challenging issue for many of us, but Moses can be our role model, he says. Particularly, he mentions something called the Grant study, which I've never heard of before. Maybe you have. It began in 1938, and it was tracked. They decided to track in the Grant study 268 Harvard students for 80 years. This was the Grant study, seeking to understand what characteristics and personality types, intelligence and health habits and relationships contributed to having a flourishing human. This was this Grant study, and they took 268 Harvard students. No one asked me to participate. I'm not even allowed to step on the grounds of Harvard. First of all, I'd be 80 right now, and second of all, no one would. I visited Harvard, and they were like, no, please, don't even step on the grass. You're ruining it for everyone. And so the study comes up with these two concepts. One concept is this idea of generativity, that is taking care of the next generation. That somehow people's health and own longevity are extended if you worry about what's coming next after you, not just about yourself. That's one of the things that they found interesting in the study, that you have to take care of the next generation, and generativity is often marked by undertaking new projects, often volunteering for new ones, by learning new skills, by being open to different things, and by being able to share your thoughts with the next generation. Which, of course, makes sense for Moses, because if you know Moses, this is all he did, was he tried to prepare, even as he knew he was only going to live for a short time, that he was going to start to prepare this next generation. The other bigger connection they found in the study was something called keeper of meaning. That's what they called it. And this is the idea that wisdom comes with age. That the older we get, the smarter we get, because we know life a little bit more. We know what's happening around us. We're able to be wiser. The world slows down a little bit. We're not always in a rush and in a hurry. And so this is where they come up with these two ideas. Being a keeper of meaning means handing on the values also of the past and to the future. So we have all of that. This has a striking connection to this week's Torah portion, which is called Dvarim, because it is the first book of the it is the first Torah portion of the last book of the Torah. 5 books in the Torah. This is the beginning of the 5th book, which also means, by the way, that the high holidays are coming. Okay, so this is the first Torah portion of the last book of the Torah, and it is, and you're going to hear me say this for the entirety of the entire book, it's a 37-day long speech from Moses. The whole book of Deuteronomy is a 37-day long speech. I'm required by law as a rabbi to tell you at this time, I will not speak for that long tonight. But I have to do it every year. It's like a requirement. You have to sign when you sign up to be a rabbi. I have to be able to make that joke. It's not really a joke, but thank you for groaning. So it makes complete sense, the connection of this longevity and taking care of people as we get to this week's Torah portion, because it's entirely set in this last bit of Moses' life. Some people say it's actually the last month of his life, and he actually knows it's the last month of his life, because God tells him, we've discussed this about the issues he's had following God's instruction and being a little bit impulsive, and so because of that, he knows that this is the last month of his life, and so now he has a big moment to choose. Moses can decide the easy way out. He's done a pretty good job up until now. I think that you'll agree. He got the Israelites out of Egypt. He figured out how to get them through the book of Leviticus. He got them through the big mess in the book of Numbers with all the issues. I think that if Moses wanted to right now, even though he had knowing he has a month left, he could have been like, Joshua, you go. I've done this enough. But instead, he spends the entirety of Deuteronomy preparing the Israelites even further, which is why he gets to be the greatest prophet of all time. So it's easy for him to retire into this inner world and to just reminisce. Next week, by the way, we're going to enter a different Torah portion called Vatchanan, and Vatchanan has 2 very cool things in it. One is the 10 Commandments, the second iteration of the 10 Commandments. The first time is in the book of Exodus, and it also has Shema V'ahavta in it. So that's pretty cool conversation, we'll say, for next week for you. But what's cool about this is that if you look at the text of the 2 different 10 Commandment texts, the commandment about keeping Shabbat is different in Exodus as it is in Deuteronomy for next week. In one section it says Shamor, which means keep, and in one it says Zachor. And so in Exodus, which is very early on in the story of Moses, it actually says Zachor. He tells the Israelites to remember the Sabbath. But here he says Shamor. Don't remember, don't reminisce about it, he says. I want you to keep it. I want it to be part of who you are. And so he kind of translates himself. And so he turns his attention to the next generation. And if you know the story of Moses, you know that he also no longer is Moses, the liberator and the lawgiver. But if you get to Deuteronomy, you know that he becomes known as Moshe Rabbeinu, which means our teacher. And he transforms himself in this opportunity rather than just sit back and reflect on how great he's done, because he's done pretty great. He still continues to be our teacher. He still continues to be teaching us as we go into this whole new book of the Torah. And he shows the Israelites all kinds of things. He takes them on all kinds of different paths. And he teaches them a whole body of different work as he goes through his time. He teaches the Israelites he teaches them to emphasize the idea of justice. We're going to hear that coming soon in a couple of weeks. The idea of justice, justice shall you pursue. He talks about the idea of caring for the poor. He talks about considering and taking care of employees. He talks about loving your stranger. All of the tools that we actually know about Judaism today and love, particularly in the Reform movement, are all because Moses gives us these gifts, even though he knows he has 30 days left to live. He gives us this gift of all the actual tools that we use mostly, actually, in our daily lives. And so I invite us on this Shabbat to reflect on this idea of 120, this idea of this magic number that Moses is going to live until. We can also reflect on the idea of living to 100 like we're 20. But taking the idea of the gifts that Moses is about to give us, he's given us so many gifts, but the ones that he is about to give us right now, and that reflecting on, can we do that? Are we in our life, are we focusing more on what we need for ourselves, or are we focusing on the tools we're going to give for the next generation? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe at some point it switches for us and we start to think about, particularly if we have kids or grandkids or great-grandkids, we start to think, oh, maybe. But I would invite us on this Shabbat to not only think about how we can fix ourselves in our world now, which needs help, but also particularly how, as we move forward, and maybe that's where we get our longevity based on this study, how we worry about what's coming next, how we worry about how to take care of the next generation. It's a big job, which I invite you to do on this Shabbat. So as you're sitting at home tomorrow, contemplating the world, having some challah, resting, I'd like for you to think about this as well, on how we can find ways for us to help and make the world a better place, doing that now so that our future generations can be better for it. Shabbat Shalom. We think of those in our community who are in need of healing, a physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. We are going to share with you our list of names here at Congregation B'nai Israel, and as we have been mentioning the last couple of weeks, if there's a name on here of someone, God willing, that's feeling better, please let us know so that we can remove them from the list. And if there is someone who is not on this list who you think might be in need of healing, please send us an email after Shabbat, of course, so we can make sure to add their name to our healing list. We mentioned this the last couple of weeks, and by the way, several people have called us and emailed us and said, I'm on the list, and I feel so much better, and please take me off. And so, God willing, we'll be able to do that. So right now, we are thinking of Annie Rosenfield, Abigail Menjivar, Asher Ben Karen Fay, Barbara Newmark, Bonnie Kleinman, Daniel Bernstein, David Field, Dr. Elise Karnick, Evelyn Greenfield, Gary Baker, Gary Bandel, Harav Avraham Ben Yehudit, Howard Kleinberg, Howard Rosenbluth, Ira Kafka, Itza Chana, Bella Bat Rivka, Janet Cohen, Diane Brownick, Stuart Benson, Cheryl Cutler, Joan Permit, Carol Porwich, Elliot Porwich, Giovanni Shambari, Randy Hirschhorn, Sarah Batz Rivka, Stephen Tenner, Julian Middleman, Marcy Cheryl Masha Zelda, Shlomo Yaakov Ben Dvora Fradel, Harriet Ginsberg, Joan Seidman, J.R. Morano, Lillian Bushell, Lillian Rosenblatt, Mark Davis, Naomi Kirstein, Rachel Bat Shoshana, Rena Fields, Richard Rosenbluth, Richard Shankman, Diane Spiro, Robert Kay, Shari Martin, Shana Call, Shirley Kafka, Sloan Caston, Tova Gould, Tova Bat Sarah Ariel Lev, Zahava Golda Bat Nehemia, Lisa Bonaire, Ryan Seidman, Stanley Geddes, Sarah Kupferberg, Beth Spector, Savary Shambari, Roy Schwedelson, Elka Kayla, Miriam, Sarah, but Gittel Tova, Marsha Davis, Ruth Weiner, Mira, Bat, Laser, Vilea. To those names, we add any name that you'd like to add at this time.
Mark Recklin.
Mishbeach can be found on page 253. Some announcements for us on this Erev Shabbat. Our Torah learning service will be held in this very room in our summertime hours still at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So, like we like to say, stay and just hang out with us. We're going to feed you right now. It's not that many hours, and then stay. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We're going to be talking about the Torah portion of Dvarim. It's going to be really fabulous. So that's tomorrow morning.
Very exciting.
Save the dates to see author, producer, and celebrity host Andy Cohen on November 9th at 7 p.m. as part of our Rosenthal speaker series right here at Congregation B'nai Israel. Sponsorships and opportunities to meet Andy are on sale now and are already almost sold out, and we're not kidding. There are like 4 or 5 sponsorships. I don't even know if there are any.
I think they were.
Yeah, so I don't even know. So they're all sold out. The tickets will be the ticket sales will officially open on August 31st for the congregation. So if you're a congregant, you can purchase them on August 31st and open to the community on September 7th. So you have a little window for members to get tickets. I have gotten no less than 15 phone calls about if they can get tickets earlier than August 31st. So when it goes August 31st, I think it's going to be a mad dash, and there are not that many seats because of the sponsorships that took up a lot of seats. So it's going to be a lot of people here at the congregation. So if you want to come to see Andy Cohen, if you don't know who Andy Cohen is, he's a celebrity, he's host, he's all over Bravo. He is Bravo. If you don't know anything about him, go to the Bravo channel, and he's really everything about Bravo it has to do with him. He's awesome, fabulous, Jewish celebrity. He's funny and awesome and personable, so he'll be here. As usual, please make sure to help fill our bins for our little free pantry. You can drop off any non-perishable items to the blue bins. They're right outside here. So every time you come to services, bring a little something. Drop it in there. That'll be really, really helpful. You can register and join us for blankets and brunch on Wednesday, July 26th at 11:30 in the boardroom upstairs to Nash, and make no sew blankets for cancer patients and those in need in our community. So that is happening on, again, the 26th at 11:30, and there'll be some Nash. It'll be upstairs. Also register for our next Coffee and Conversation. Cantor Mashlik did a phenomenal job on his Coffee and Conversation. And now Rabbi Khan will be doing her Coffee and Conversation August 2nd at 11:30, also upstairs in the boardroom. That is, again, August 2nd. And then, of course, Mahjong Club, if you want to play a little Maj, that's also upstairs. And it's on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. and on Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. And beginners are welcome. Also, it's official. You can save the date for the June 2024 Israel trip. It is already online. You can go onto our website. It is already up. It is there. It is a combo trip, actually. It is an interfaith trip with our neighbors at Spanish River Church right next door. So we're going to be seeing all the Jewish sites and all the Christian sites. And you're not missing out anything, because we made sure that everything is covered. So if it's your first time in Israel, you're going to see everything you're supposed to see from the Jewish stuff, everything, and eat all the good food, and all the cool stuff in the Christian sites, and also get to hang out with our neighbors next door, and hang out with Pastor Cassidy, who is next door. Super, super fabulous guy. So come and join us on that trip. The dates are June 23rd through July 3rd of 2024, and all the details are already up on our website.
Should be nice and cool during that time.
Yes, it's going to be very, very nice and cool. But we'll be on a beautifully air-conditioned bus, staying at beautiful hotels. It's going to be very, very nice. We're going to be in Tel Aviv to start, and then we're going to go to the north, and then we're going to go to Jerusalem. And we are staying in my favorite hotel in Jerusalem, which is the Imbal. It's gorgeous, phenomenal hotel, 5-star hotel. It's stunning. Yes, sir. A maximum number of people? No maximum. We are hoping for at least half and half. So we want at least we're looking at 30. We're looking at 30 right now. So we'd like at least 15 from CBI and at least 15 from Spanish River. But however the balance works. But there's no minimum, because we can get a larger bus. I believe the buses take up to 51 people. So yes. So we are good up to 51. And God willing, that should be the problem. We'll get a second bus. That is, which I have done before, and it's perfectly okay for us to do that. So, and then Cantor Mashlik can come, because he said how cool it is in Israel.
Yeah.
So yes, so that's already up on our website. Just go to the website, hit menu, and you'll see it just says Summer Israel Trip 24. Boop, all the details are right there, and literally all the details, the times, the locations, the pricing, everything, the hotel names, everything is literally up all on the site. But if you have any questions, please let me know where we're going to be. It's going to be a very exciting and very fabulous trip to Israel. Part of the stuff that we might be doing, and this is coming out hopefully very, very, very soon. I just spoke to JNF USA, and I talked about this a little bit the last time that right when I got back from Israel, that there is a section in Israel in the south that I particularly toured around, and it's called the 15-second zone, because that's the 15 seconds for missile strikes from Gaza to hit these housing areas in the south of Israel. And so it's called the 15-second zone. And so JNF USA has figured out how to build small bomb shelters along the way, so that if, God forbid, you're in your car or you're traveling and you hear the alarm, almost every spot you're in that region is within 15 seconds of a mini bomb shelter. And Congregation B'nai Israel will have a chance, by the way, to purchase one and have our name on it in the south. So that we'll be doing that. You're hearing about that as well. And if that's already done and set between now and the trip in Israel, part of the trip can be that we're going to go and see that shelter that will be our shelter that we're going to help to sponsor. So yeah, exactly. They're actually beautiful. I have pictures of them. They're incredible. So it's from all over the world, and you get to you actually get to pick how you want it to be painted. if you sponsor it. It's actually, they're very nice. So it's supposed to be as nice as it can for the region because they're pretty. They're all pretty. They're all very nice. So there's a lot of information. Plus our 40th anniversary is coming, and we have a million people to come and a million plans that are coming up. It's going to be really fabulous to be here at CBI. I think I covered the announcements. What do you think, Cantor Muchnick?
This week and next week.
Yes. I'm here all the time, so.
I'm here all week.
Yeah, I'm here all week. We're going to begin to conclude our service. Aleinu can be found on page 282, and together we stand.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Transition our thoughts now to Kaddish Yatom, to Mourner's Kaddish. We think in the period of Shiva, the immediate 7-day mourning period of Yasmin Green and Eva Posner. That's in the period of Shiva. In the period of Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period, we think of Gary Allen Kane and David Newmark. And the yortzites that occur for us this week: George Cooper, Lawrence Siegel, William J. Belford, Isaac Honick, Dolores Karnowski, Ann Hoffer, Teresa Lenarelli, Dora Rizzer, Betty Silverman, Maurice Shore, Lester Rosler, Harry Pearl, Irwin Diamond, Alan Israel, Lillian Gelfriend, Joseph, Rob, Ethel, Kirstein, Marvin Davis, Sally Rosenthal, William Yaspi, Albert Furing, Louis Zaiden, Sarah Wallach, Sylvia Sellen. To those names, we had any name that you'd like to add at this time? Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish 294. Yitgadal v'ikadash me'raba, b'alma divrach riyuteh v'amlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, as together we say, amen. Please be seated. Let's do a little motzi before our closing song. Yes? Yes.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Oh, it's delicious. We conclude with Shalom Aleichem on page 323. strength onto our people. Continue to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom.